Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Dr. Amina Asghar here, and the topic I'm going to deal today is the concept of quality assurance. This is actually second topic of the course, which is analytical chemistry, and the course code is CAM 2112. In today's topic, I'm going to cover a few basic components regarding this topic. The first one is what is quality. The second is evolution of quality. Third is introduction of quality assurance. And next is four tenets of quality assurance. And the last one is quality assurance cycle. What is quality? Simplest and most comprehensive way of defining quality is doing the right thing right away. ISO 9000 2000 definition. It is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill the requirement. We can also say that it is the ability of product, oblique service, whatsoever you are talking about, to satisfy the consumer, customer, client, society. Levels of quality. 4 levels of quality. Consumer first. Second, continuous improvement. Third, total participation of everyone. The last is societal learning about the quality, the term of quality. Evolution of quality. Now, when I say evolution of quality, this is actually I'm talking about the total quality management system, and the total quality management system is actually a total process, and this process is a combination of few basic steps. The first is the inspection. The second is the quality control, the third is the quality assurance, and the fourth is the total quality management. Okay. Assurance. This is another term which is important to know while we are going to do detail about the quality assurance. The assurance is nothing but a positive declaration on a product or a service. Okay, so this is a positive declaration, that is, you are assuring the quality to someone about the product or about the service, which gives confidence. It is certainty of a product or a service which it will work well. Okay, it provides a guarantee to the client, to the customer, that the product will work without any problem as per the expectations or the requirements of the client, of the customer. Now, ISO 9000 definition of quality assurance. This is actually a part of quality management system which is focused on providing confidence that quality requirements will be fulfilled, right? So quality assurance aims to prevent defects with a focus on the process of manufacturing, process of synthesis, process of providing the service to the customer, used to make the product or used to provide the service. It is a proactive quality process, so it will be identifying the weaknesses in the process to improve the things, right? And that means we are going to work on a project, on a target, that we are trying to minimize the defects, and we are already working on the theme that we don't need any defect or the fault in the product, or we don't want any problem in the provision of the service to the customer. Quality assurance, all the requirements, all the arrangements and activities that are meant to safeguard, maintain and promote quality of care and synthesis. So this is a systematic process of closing the gap between the actual performance and the desirable outcomes regarding the product, regarding the service, right? So what you are actually doing and what you are desiring, So this quality assurance is a process which is making the gap closer, or making the gap, minimizing the gap between the two things, the actual performance and the desirable performance, right? So quality assurance, or QA, is a way of preventing the mistakes or defects in manufactured products and avoiding problems when delivering the solutions or services to the clients, to the customers. Good. Now, 4 tenets of quality assurance QA. 4 tenets means 4 principles, 4 beliefs which are working behind the concept of quality assurance. So, quality assurance is oriented towards meeting the needs and expectations of the client and the community. That means this is actually a process by which you are going to meet the expectation level and the needs of your customer, your client, and ultimately the society and the community. The second principle behind the quality assurance work is that the quality assurance focuses on the systems and the processes. Now, you have to remember this thing in your mind, that the product is important, but product is not only the important thing. The systems, the processes through which you are producing the product, you are synthesizing your thing, are also important. So quality assurance definitely focuses on the product, but it also focuses on the systems and the processes as well. The third principle or belief behind the work relevant to the quality assurance is that the quality assurance uses data to analyze the services and the delivery processes. The fourth, quality assurance encourages a team approach. That means it is not the individual game. It is a team approach or teamwork to problem solving and quality improving process. Quality assurance process, QAP. Okay, there are a few points regarding the quality assurance process. The one, planning for the quality assurance. You have to plan for it. You have to do a proper planning, that what has to be done, how has to be done, who is going to do this, etc., etc. So a proper planning for the quality assurance. Number 2, developing the guidelines and setting the standards. You must be having the standards that, okay, for example, you are marketing medicine, or you are producing some bakery item, or you are selling something. You must be having standards that if I am selling a bakery item, I am baking bread and marketing it, और मैं ये क्लेम कर रही हूँ कि इसकी जो एक्सपायरी डेट है वो ये है, कुछ भी आफ्टर 2 days, या कोई दूध हम मार्केट कर रहे हैं तो हम ये कहते हैं कि दूध की एक्सपायरी डेट ये है, तो इट शुड नॉट एक्सपायर बिफोर दैट डेट. So there should be a standard for the product, and you have to work for it, that the product should be according to those standards, and the guidelines for attaining those standards, those are very clear. Those should be, I must say, those should be very clear, that these are the guidelines for getting these standards. Next, communicating the standards and the specifications. Definitely, if you have some set standards, you have to communicate about those standards to all the team members. They all must be knowing the standards, the values, and the specifications which you have to achieve at the end of the process. Monitoring the quality. You have to monitor the quality from the first step to the last step. This is very important. Okay. Identifying the problems and selecting the opportunities for improvement. Definitely, if you are getting some problems, you must be knowing that where are the problems and why they are happening, right? So you have to identify the problem, and then you have to select the opportunity for the improvement, that how you can remove those problems, and plus, yes, this is important as well, how you can avoid those problems. This is also very important. So avoiding the problems, and then if you have face some problem. In that case, identifying the problems and then defining the problems operationally. अब आपको ये पता होना चाहिए what is the problem. Actually, you have to define the problem, that this is the problem which is we are facing right now, and then choosing a team. You must be having a proper team to address that problem and to clear that problem, to troubleshoot that problem, and plus to avoid that problem in the next processes. Analyzing and studying the problem to identify its root cause. I have discussed this as well. Now, developing the solutions for the problem, solving the problem, and actions for the improvement. Next, implementing and evaluating the quality improvement efforts. You have to implement the efforts. You have to evaluate that whether these efforts are working properly, or you need to further improve the efforts and the processes you are doing regarding. This is a quality assurance cycle. So the step one is you are planning. You have planned you have planned a process. Okay, step two, setting the standards. 3, communicating those standards to the whole team. The 4, monitoring that the team is working according to those standards. 5th, identifying and prioritize the opportunities for improvement. You have to identify that how we can improve, how we can further improve, and how we should use our facilities and resources and sources to do the improvements in the process. Step 6, define a problem. If you have got some problem in a process, then you have to define exactly that this is the problem. This is the problem, and then step 7 is identify who will work on the problem. Definitely, this is not possible that all team is going to start on one problem. 1 or 2 person or 3 persons, maybe a person or a team of 2-3 persons, they will be working on the problem, on the solution of the problem. So you have to identify that who's the better person to work on that problem. Step 8, analyze and study the problem. Analyze, क्यों आया ये, क्या आया ये, you have to analyze and then you have to study it. Okay. Step 9, choose and design the solution for the problem. You have to choose a proper solution, and then you have to design the things for that solution. The 10, implementation of the solutions to get the results, right? I have briefly discussed all these steps while I was discussing the cycle, so quickly we will just go through it. Step 1, planning for the quality assurance, and for that, review of the organization's scope of care to determine high priority. What is the thing which is of high priority for the organization? High volume or problem prone products, services. What you have to do is अपनी high priority भी define कर लेनी है, और उसके बाद जो भी उसमें problem creating product या services उसमें आ सकती हैं, problems आ सकती हैं, you have to define those problems and you have to pin mark and you have to take care to avoid those problems. Step 2, setting the standards and specifications. For this, practice the guidelines, administrative procedures. There must be some administrative procedures, and there must be some practice guidelines, and there must be some specifications and the performance standards, and these should be very clear at the start of the process. Step 3, communicating the guidelines and the standards will ensure that each team member, worker, supervisor, manager, and support person understand what is expected of him or her. He or she must be knowing the guidelines, the standards, and the expectations from her or him. More important, if ongoing training or supervision is changed, or it is weak, or a dialogue regarding guideline or standard can take place, If it is changed or if it is weak, then there should be a dialogue about the guidelines, about the standards, and dialogue between all the concerned persons. That is important so that we can avoid the problems or the faults in the product. Now the next is monitoring the quality. For that, what you have to do is you have to collect and review the data regarding that process, and then assess whether program norms are being followed. Program norms are in detail. आपको पता होनी चाहिए कि ये follow हो रही हैं या नहीं हो रही. Whether outcomes are improved. The outcomes of the efforts regarding maintaining the quality, delivering the details regarding the standards, and all the efforts to improve the process. Those efforts should have some outcomes, and whether those outcomes are improved as compared to the previous process, or they are same, or they are not that good, which were in the previous process. Step 5. Identifying the problems and selecting opportunities of the improvement. Suggestions from all team members. Performing the system process. This is important while you are identifying the problem. Reviewing the feedback and complaints. If there are any feedbacks or complaints regarding the process, or regarding the product, or regarding the services, definitely those are important and those should be reviewed. Employing a participatory approach. This is also important. Whenever you need to have good product, good result, good service, quality product, you need a participatory approach from all the team members. Definitely that will work. Now the step 6, define a problem. A gap between actual performance and the performance as prescribed by the guidelines and the standard, that can create a problem. So the gap between the actual problem and the performance, or the ideal performance, or the performance which is prescribed by the standards and the guidelines, अगर उसमें कोई gap है तो that will be a problem. Gap छोटा है तो problem छोटी है, gap बड़ा है तो problem बड़ी है. So the gap between the two is actually a problem. Clearly state whether the problem begins where the problem begins and ends. You have to define clearly that at this step the problem is starting, and after 2 steps or after 3 steps excuse me, or right after the step where the problem started, the problem is ending. So you have to state clearly that where the problem is starting and where the problem is ending. Recognize how the problem can be solved. This is very important as well, that you have to recognize that how the problem can be solved. Otherwise you cannot solve the problem. Next step is choosing a team. Assign a team to address the specific problem, analyze the problem, develop a quality improvement plan, implement, and then evaluate the quality improvement efforts. These all are the steps which are important. So in this step you are going to select the person, one person or a team of persons who's going to address the problem, and definitely you have to guide them as well, that for solving this problem you have to analyze and you have to develop a proper plan, and then evaluation of that plan as well. Identifying the root cause of the problem. Achieving a meaningful and sustainable quality improvement effort depends on understanding the problem and its root cause. Definitely, if you are not identifying the root cause, you may be getting the problem again and again. So better identify the root cause so that that problem can be avoided for the next time. Step 9. Developing the solutions. Problem-solving team should be ready to develop and evaluate the potential solutions for that particular problem. A solution may be straightforward and simple, so that it can be followed easily by everyone. Step 10. Implementing and evaluating the quality improvement efforts. Okay, this step is also very important as you are going to implement the efforts. Team must determine the necessary resources and the time frame. That what is the time frame? In how much time you have to follow these all steps which are provided by the problem solving team, right? So decide who will be responsible for implementation. This is also important, that choose the right person for the work. Team must decide whether implementation should begin with a pilot test in a limited area or should be launched at large scale. Now there is a difference between the two. When you are going to implement a problem solving plan, you can have two strategies. The first one is that you will be taking a limited area and you will be doing a pilot test, or if you are very confident about the plan and the results and it is tested again and again and you know that it will work, then okay, you can launch it at a larger scale on all the problem area. The team should select indicators to evaluate whether the solution was implemented correctly and whether it resolves the problem it was designed to address. Quality assurance examples. Some of the examples which can be given for the quality assurance process. Number one, self-evaluation. You can do the self-evaluation of yourself as well, or you can give a form or a criteria to the team members to do the evaluation of their work or of their performance. The second is process documentation. The third is establishing the standards. The fourth is developing the checklists. Next is conducting the internal audits. The next is educational assessments. These all are the examples for the quality assurance in a process, in a work. QA techniques, quality assurance techniques. There are many techniques that form the basis of the key quality assurance principles. That means there are techniques available which can help you in maintaining the quality assurance in a process, in a procedure, right? So there are many, but I am discussing some of these which are usually more in use in the industry. The first one is cost benefit analysis. Okay, now cost benefit analysis, in simple words you can say that this is actually the study to determine the relationship between the benefits of a process and the cost of that process. I mean, for example, if you are planning a change that is pending to ensure the benefits, तो आपने ये देखना है कि वो जो कॉस्ट है वो उस चेंज की क्या उसके उतने बेनिफिट्स हैं, right? So if a change is pending and you want to ensure that the benefits from the change overweighs the cost, for that purpose you usually do the cost benefit analysis, right? Okay, the next we are going to discuss is the cost of quality, COQ. Now, the cost of quality, in simple words, you can define that this is the methodology that allows an organization to determine the extent to which its resources are used for the activities, right? And for which kind of activities that prevent the poor quality, that ensures the good quality, that ensures the quality assurance. So that means that this appraises the quality of the organization's products or services, and that result from the internal and that results from the savior of the internal and external failures, right? Okay. And the next I want to discuss is the benchmarking. Now, the benchmarking is actually building the comparison between the performance, your performance, and the performance of your competition, of your competitor, right? So what you are going to do in benchmarking, that you are trying to identify your core strength and your pain points. That means your plus points and your negative points. And then what you are going to do is ultimately you are going to empower your company with the data it needs to improve its operations. Okay, ji. Next is design of experiments, DOE. This is actually a systematic method to determine the relationship between the factors affecting a process and the output of the process. That means what you are going to do with the design of experiment is that you are developing a relationship. The relationship between the factors affecting a process, maybe positive factors, maybe negative factors, and the output of that process. कि उस प्रोसेस का आउटपुट क्या है और वो जो फैक्टर्स थे उन्होंने इफेक्ट किया तो आउटपुट पे क्या इफेक्ट हुआ, राइट. सो दिस इज द डिजाइन ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स. उसके बाद जी आपके पास statistical sampling. It is actually one of the tools, techniques which are used for the quality assurance, and you can define it as selecting part of a population in question or interest for inspection, right. Now what you are going to do, inspection is actually the next technique, and what in statistical sampling you are doing, you are selecting a part of the population जिसके ऊपर आप काम करेंगे, and the samples are chosen in this process and tested according to the quality assurance and quality management plans, right. So you are selecting a population in this process. And the next one is inspection. Now inspection is actually an activity such as measuring, examining, testing or gauging one or more characteristics of a product, right, and comparing the results with the specified requirements, whatsoever the requirements of the company is, whatsoever the requirement of the industry is. You are comparing the requirements with the characteristics, and in order to establish whether the conformity is achieved for each characteristics. That means for each characteristic जो भी you want to improve, for each characteristic you are going to you are going to do the measurement or testing or examine the characteristics of the product and the required results. Okay. Now after long nice lecture and discussion, you must be doing some assignments, right? So the question one I would like to ask from you people is that when do you think the quality assurance activities start in a process, right? Now you have to identify that if you are doing a process, you can take an example from your daily routine or from some industry or from a bank or anywhere जहाँ से भी आप easily करना चाहें, जो आप अच्छे से apply कर सकें. तो you have to give me an example, और उसके बाद कि how we can apply the quality assurance activity on that process. Question one. Question 2 is what is a QA cycle, life cycle? Now this is a very easy question. I have discussed the whole life cycle in detail with you people. So what you have to do is you have to give this life cycle, but in your own words. I am not requiring that just tell me exactly what I have told you. Give me in your own words that what do you mean by a QA life cycle, right? And the third thing I would like to ask from you people, that can you do a comparison between the techniques which are the cost of quality and the cost benefit analysis. So this is the third question you have to answer. Okay, so all the very best for your assignment. Have a nice safe time. Stay at home, stay safe, and do pray for all of the people who are suffering, right? Assalamu alaikum.